Hi, welcome back to Guessagaingaming. Thanks for watching. So back with Necromunda Underhive Wars. I've given you the last kind of menu option things in the last video, and there's a few more things I wanted to show you in game. We've already started the game, and by the nature of how the missions play out, and you've seen already the fact that each player has one go each, it takes a long time. So I'm not going to try and play a whole mission, and it's a bit long-winded because I have to wait for each different gang member to go to tell you a different thing. But anyway, there's a few things I wanted to show you that I haven't shown you before, mainly because the first time I played in that starter mission, it was a very unusual level. I've never even seen a level like that, where I think I said it was all on literally kind of one, okay, it's slightly raised, but one level. So on this, here you can see on the overview, this is how it would normally look. This is like many levels, these walkways, levels that have up ramps and different levels there. So, and this is quite a normal one. Some of them are even more than this. There's some I've seen with like 7 levels, but the one we started on for some reason only had 1, which was a bit strange. So I thought I'd show you a more realistic one. So this is how it would normally look. There you can see all the orange crates. When I call them caskets or crates, but what they are, sometimes they're barrels. I mean, that one looks more like that's a barrel, a water barrel. And that one's a casket, but basically the orange things, because to be honest, regardless of what's in them, the only thing you're interested in that someone wants them, and the possible value of them, that what's the content doesn't matter. I mean, it will say things like, when you pick up a barrel full of toxic chemicals, it's spilling and things, but I've never found that made a lot of difference. It may damage your hit points slightly, but unless you're virtually dead, I wouldn't overly worry. So first thing I want to show you then is go back to the screen. I'll just pick anybody. Let's pick her because she's the first one that came around. We go second, so they're off. But there's sometimes, as you can see with that, they're next to a barrel, a casket, very quickly. So sometimes that works out like that. You can place your gang near things you want, and sometimes there's no option. Sometimes it doesn't give you any option to have a starting point near them. But anyway, so this is one of the things I wanted to show you because the other game didn't have it. Firstly, that is, you can see on the screen, that broken line. That's one of those jump lines that's not active. It's been broken. So if she was a different sort of tech, she could fix that, and you can have gang members that I haven't got one with me, it wasn't relevant, I didn't need to have one. But because it's always one of these, always quite a few, you can see there's some more, and you can fix that. And equally, if you have that kind of tech, you can cut them, which the opposing gangs like to do. Sometimes I'm not really sure it's relevant. Again, it's what you do. You might find it was really helpful. I'm not an expert in anything, but I find it usually ends up like being annoying because you cut something or you sabotage something, and later on when you come back round you find you can't use it yourself. And yes, you can fix it, but it takes up action points, so it is what it is. But anyway, those are the ones where you can't actually use at the moment. So if you see those, you can't use those. You can only use the ones with the thick line, but you could fix that and theoretically use it later. Anyway, another thing I wanted to show you, which we will show you now, is because this game has levels, there are lifts. In some games, there are many lifts. In this one, they are always that green thing there, which looks really like a lift actually. So you can see this one there, this one there, this one there, this one there. That one obviously goes between that floor and that floor, doesn't go up to that floor. That one goes down straight to that floor. You can roughly work out where they go. So these lifts, which can be useful, you have to call them if they're not there. So basically we work like a real lift. If the lift floor was there, the lift would be on this floor and it would be there. You wouldn't need to call it, but you have to call it because it's not there, and it will cost you 5 action points, which it said. The lift comes, there's the floor, which wasn't there. And it will say go to floor 1. If there was more than one floor the lift went to, by pressing L2 and R2, it will scroll between the different floors you can go to. But there's only one floor it goes to, and then you would literally just press there, and that takes another 5 action points. So it can use a few action points to go on these lifts, but they can be useful. So as you can see now, there we are, we're down on the bottom floor having used the lift. Now another thing I can show you while I'm there is you can see on there those brown things there. If I turn myself round and go that way, what they are, and you can see it here, they're barricades. That's what those things are there, and sometimes you can jump over them, as I can here with vault, and that's where the crates are. And there's some loot, that's a casket, it's different, but it's just another orange thing to pick up. That's all you really need to think about, and that one's just loot. And other times you'll get these barricade things, they'll always look the same, they'll have that kind of brown look, and sometimes you'll have to use an explosive or shoot them because you won't be able to penetrate them. So for example, that one there, which I can't run around to, it's too far, I won't have the movement points, but that one there is going to have to be shot through because it's all the way around. There are occasions where you see these and you can't tell from the diagram whether they're going to be something you need to blow up or break through, or you can jump over it, or you can run through it. Sometimes the gaps look like you could run through, but you can't, and from this you can't tell that you could jump over it. I couldn't, so sometimes you physically have to go and jump over or run through it, but yeah, you can jump in and out, and often you'll find the loot caskets, the salvage things, the orange things, and sometimes even the escape exit areas are surrounded by those. And again, you can do it as you want. It's a bit like getting the caskets and the barrels. Sometimes it's in your advantage if you're near them and if you think you can make a quick getaway to grab them and blow the things up yourself and get them. Same with the exit. Sometimes it's beneficial to let the other gangs do that for you. And part of the reason, to be honest, is again, it's a strategy thing. Even if you can get all the crates that you can, literally all the ones you can, very quickly, it's better, in my opinion, it's just an opinion, to fight the gangs, because if you do just run out with the crates, yes, at the end of the rounds you'll get the bonus crates, caskets from your house, and you'll get some money, but you'll get much more action points to add to your gang members who go on the missions if you kill and fight other gang members. So just running in and grabbing the crates, yes, it can be something, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, there's a balance, as there always is, between grabbing everything you can and not trying to go crazy because you don't want to get people killed and injured. As we've discussed before, injuries can be bad and they can be long term and they can be permanent, but you don't really want to just run and grab stuff and run away. And equally, mentioning that, you don't particularly want to grab stuff quickly, because if I now ran in, for example, if she was near, she's not because it's over there, but if she was near an exit point, even if I could now grab 2 caskets or crates, baskets, whatever, barrels, and run away, that would automatically knock my gang down to 4. The other 2 gangs would both have 5, which means each time we took a turn, when it came round to the next turn, I'd be 1 player short, so I'd miss a turn somewhere, and that's not really beneficial, because in that 1 turn they can move, each of those gangs could move the extra turn with the extra player to somewhere that's going to be really disadvantageous to your gang. So you removing one of your players very early, I've never found really worthwhile. It's for the fact you've got the crates, you might as well, to be honest, if you get the crates early and you can pick them up and go and hide and loiter somewhere, because then you've still got your player there and you still get your turn. The other thing I wanted to say is stealth is not an option in this game. In most games I've ever played, somewhere in it stealth is a kind of option in varying degrees. In this game it's not. They know where you are. There's no option to hide, there's no invisibility, there's no option to not be seen. Basically, as soon as you start a mission, they know where you are, you know where they are, and there's no way you can creep around somewhere and do anything to anybody that's worthwhile. So stealth isn't an option in this at all. and the only way you can kind of play it is either on a kind of passive-aggressive, I'd say, way, which is, as I described before, you can kind of wait around, wait for people to do overwatches and wait for the other two gangs, where are they today? Let's see, the other two gangs to kind of fight each other. That gang's nearer me, so they might decide to go down and start nicking crates. They might decide to come out here and fight me, or they might go that way and fight them. So you can wait for the other gangs to fight, or you can just be all out aggressive and attack the other gang. It depends what you want to do. It depends what strength your gang is, and you'll know from the beginning. Like, you can look at each gang and you can see what kind of people are in their gang, what gang members they have, what weapons they have, and you might think from the beginning, I can take all of them. Probably because, like I said, I'm on the first run of levels for this game. My gang is very high level for this level now. I'm basically going to go on to the next level now, so I could probably do that, but certainly early on I would suggest that you don't run gun-ho into every single other gang, especially if you've got two gangs in the level you're in, because it's very easy to get killed and injured. And as you've seen, I've got people that are injured long term, and it's very easy. And as I said, the most inconvenient thing in this game is if you end up with people dead and they've still got all their gang members, because number one, you miss turns and they've got people moving when you can't, and number two, you have to physically carry out the orange caskets, crates, barrels, whatever, and if you've got less people, you've got less people to carry. So if I suddenly lost 2 people in a fight, I've only got 3 people, which means with 2 arms each, the most they could carry is 6, and is more than that. And that's not counting anyone left to defend or fight, because once you're carrying something, unless you've got the servo tech thing, you can't actually damage anybody. So anyway, they're just a few things I thought I'd run through. I may think of more, I may not, but I'm trying not to run this video to the point where it cuts. So anyway, those are my current thoughts. Like I said, I'm not going to play a whole mission on this, number one, because it would be kind of, I don't know, it wouldn't be that interesting to watch because of the way the thing pans out. And number two, they are long, because it goes person by person. You've got to wait for 2 other gangs to move, and if it's one of those missions, and you can never tell just by looking at this, I won't know whether it's going to be a mission where suddenly everyone ends up. I've had missions where all the other gangs end up in the same place and a few of our gang, and they end up in a kind of close combat fight out, shootout. And there's other times when they're very spread out, or they go different directions, even if it looks like they're not spread out, and it can take a really long time to get rid of them all and get all the caskets. So it's really impossible to know, but it could take a long time. Anyway, thanks for watching another update on Necromunda Underhive Wars. I hope you've enjoyed it, and have a great day. I'll speak to you soon, and goodbye from sunny, cloudy London.